Hello there, guys, and welcome to my crack book. And as you will know, this will be uploaded over onto my YouTube later. And yeah, anyway, I will let my mother carry on doing what she's doing. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of it. I've had an absolute enough of it. I have. Literally, I think, when was it? Liam and Daniel were in their, I think they were in their third year of primary school when my parents started nagging me about moving down south. Come on, move down south, move down south. If you move down south, you know, we can all be around and be a fucking family. So I'm sitting here down south 4 years fucking later after I've got here, and I didn't come down to Portsmouth for the hovercraft. I know that. I didn't come to Portsmouth for the Stones. I didn't come to Portsmouth for, I don't know, the lovely picturesque scenery. I came down south purely because I wanted to be part of my family, and that isn't going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. The good thing is I'm glad Liam's down here. I'm glad that Liam is away from, you know, there's a very small village that we had in Leyland with not many opportunities around for him. So he's going to have a really good life here. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I've managed to sort the boys' bedroom out again today. It's just turning into a Groundhog Day. It's so difficult to sort. Even my neighbour popped her head out today, and she was like, you know, what was going on with the council the other day, and I told her. And she said, I'm not surprised you're going mental. She said, like, in a one bedroom, like, I can't, you know, I'm not surprised that every day is an absolute struggle, because it's one of those things from, like, literally from, it's so different, because I have lived in a house and I have had that structure that I need, and I've had that routine that I've needed, and I've had that discipline. I can see the chaos of this. And not just that, most people when they're 41, you know, they have everything that they need around them. You know, they might be with their husbands. I would like to assume that they're with their husbands. They have their family, and they've had years and years and years and years and years of building on things. Now, the challenge that me and Dean have had is when we came into this situation, we had another option, to be honest. We could have gone in a very different direction. But we felt that then, obviously, the system were going to keep sort of coming at me and causing issues as they were because of our inner faith. So we made the decision that we were going to do exactly what we were asked to do through the system. So we came here with literally, as I've said, my paperwork and Dean's backpack, and that was it. So, you know, everybody knows that a house needs plates, cups, cutlery, towels, washing machines, cookers, fridge freezers, beds, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it's been really, really difficult, because obviously we've had, like, all four of us, and obviously progressing, all four of us literally sort of in the same mattress and dealing with all of the noise here. I finally put my Asperger's diagnosis on the system, and the reason that I've done that is because somebody like me can't cope with lots of noise, lots of stuff going on, and things, and it isolates me, it withdraws me. So if it's really busy outside, it makes it very difficult for someone like me to go outside. I have to prepare for busy places. In fact, I didn't even go out today. I just knew that I couldn't cope with the hustle and bustle of how busy it was going to be today. When I have a position at stuff like that, it doesn't bother me, because I just get a job done. But yeah, today I just wasn't feeling it. And because I've got so much stuff to get done here, like, literally I'm trying to get this flat to a situation where I only have in this flat what is needed. But the challenge is that's causing me problems with the council, because I'm having to move it out of the flat, and it's not easy. Like, people can go, hey, it's fine, you walk out of the front door, you get in the lift, you go down, and you come back up. Or with two little toddlers, that isn't easy. especially living here, because you've got the kids playing outside, you've got the park. So the moment the kids go downstairs, they don't want to come straight back up. And we had it today where I had to literally go down, sort the washing, and come back up. And they were really good about it. And then we had to go down to the storage unit and come back up. And that time, that was it. They were like, no, not having this. They wanted to stay downstairs. So I'm having to literally drag 2 children back up that are insistent that they don't want to go down. So it's like, even now, I've got my washing downstairs and I can't go and get it. And I really need to be getting on with it. So I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow morning to go downstairs to get the washing downstairs from the dryer and get the kids to come back up again. Because it's not like, you know, what do I run out and leave my kids in the flat? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I know it's not going to happen, but because you've got to go downstairs, down into the dryer room, which is one of them key fob rooms, you know, I'll panic sometimes because we get lots of different people in and out, and it's like, cool, if I took the risk to go and do that, knowing my luck, it would be the day that these automatic fucking doors don't open and I'll be stuck in there, or I'll come up in the fucking lift and I'd get stuck in the fucking lift, you know what I mean? But it's no different than actually being in a 2 up, 2 down and going downstairs. But when it's a flat and it's a front door, it is. So it means I'm then stuck until tomorrow to be able to get stuff done. It's like, you know, I could be sorting my storage unit out now. I could be going backwards and forwards downstairs, but I can't because I've got 2 kids in bed. You know, I could run around with a monitor, but the reality is I'm in a block of flats. But when I lived in Germany, you know, people had these arrangements between, you know, parents. So you could, you know, run up and down. And I'm not in an environment as well where I can knock on my next door neighbour and sort of say, do you mind coming and sitting with the kids while, you know, I'll go downstairs. And one thing that I've really learned about stuff is, in order for somebody to do something for you, they've got to really care about you. They've got to really care about what's important to you and what's, you know, what's your dreams and helping you move forward. And one thing about me is I don't actually have people in my life that my dreams and aspirations are important to them. Certainly not to my family, 100%. In fact, my family don't even know my dreams and aspirations. So in order to get all this done, the help comes to if you're important to somebody. And only if people can genuinely understand what these struggles and challenges are. And when I was talking to my neighbour the other day about what went on with the council, and literally we had a glass table when we were in here and we took it downstairs, and my fingers wouldn't hold the glass of it properly, and I dropped it and it literally shattered. It shattered everywhere. It went down 3 floors. It, you know, went all the way down the crevices in the middle of the stairs and everything. So when we took this glass cabinet outside, well, I took this glass cabinet outside because, of course, every time Dean goes away, the first thing I do is completely de-gutter and defrag. Because do you know what the worst thing this man does, by the way, that people want to call him vile and the sperm donor? Don't ever call him a sperm donor in front of me, because you discredit my love for the man and my 2 boys in there. That's their father you're talking about. So don't ever slam Dean in front of me or on my crack book, because the people who have done, and I am watching it, I'm not engaging in what's going on, but I am seeing it. I am seeing what's been said. What you're doing is you're proving to me, by the way, that you have no loyalty whatsoever. And if you can sit there with my mum, yeah, my mum will tell you whatever my mum wants. My mum, since I was a child, has been trying to convince people I'm mad, because she didn't want people to believe that I went through the sexual abuse that I did. It was easier for everybody to think that I was crazy than telling the truth. So I've had it my whole life. Yeah, just exactly when my mum was getting battered, yeah, and I used to ring the police, ring my dad, and tell him my mum was getting battered. And my mum used to tell everybody that I was a liar and attention seeker, and she even convinced my dad that I was lying about it. That man was battering my mother. I've watched him wrap the cord around her neck and drag her upstairs and beat her with the fucking end of the phone. I watched it. I saw it with my eyes. I know what I saw. I know what happened. And if I really wanted to, I could go to the MOD, who came out that night and took a statement from me, and it would probably be available. So yeah, no, I wasn't lying. So I've had it my whole life. So, but if people want to then sit there, so if my mum says, oh, it's part of my mental health, or it's part of this, or it's part of that, yeah, my mum plays golf, yeah, she's more interested in her golf buddies on her golf field, thinking that she's superior and she's amazing and she's great and she's perfect. Because don't forget, she doesn't tell people she's got 3 children. She tells people she's got 2. Yeah, my 2 sisters. I don't exist in my mum's world. I am the one who has strong arms to climb out of the abortion bucket, the very much unwanted child. So when you then get called up in conversations, and I watch this in normal reactions with people, by the way. And you know, I'll actually ask someone to lie for me, because I will test that about you. Because if you can lie for me, you can lie to me. And that's how I see it. This year for me was about building a really solid, strong inner team in my family, because both Dean and I have hopes and aspirations that are not living in a 1-bedroom flat in Portsmouth. You know, we both want our own education, school in Poole sort of area, and we both want to be able to do stuff with homeless and within the system. So, and that takes money. And in order to make that level of money, you have to run businesses and you have to have discipline and, you know, to achieve things. Now, I have never, ever, 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 ever had anything positive said to me from my family about anything that I do with people who live on the streets. In fact, my mother's reaction, I'm going to talk about my mother being, she decided to take a comment that I've said about being really disappointed about moving down south today, and completely going on my Facebook, as she does, just like when I went out in the media with Challenge Britain, and it was the Daily Mail that then tried to edit and turn it into the Benefit Britain mum. And rather than having a really loyal and supportive mother who stood by her daughter, as the media turned her business thing into something personal, no, she completely slated and trolled me. She even actually wrote on these blogs that I had breast implants and I know how to screw the system. These are not people that I want in my life. One thing me and Dean said is that we want real loyalty in our lives. We want real people around us that are loyal to the core. So you can have your bad days. Both me and Dean are on a journey. We are dealing with stuff from our past. We are dealing with the crash of both of our lives at the time. And it's not that the past is an issue, it's just the fact that you're starting from scratch. And this is the challenge. Both me and Dean are starting from scratch with absolutely nothing. For my mum to call Dean basically a parasite and a homeless vermin and all of these things, a man that she doesn't even know. And this is what I find strange about people, the fact that people will go to the extent to talk about other people, because damn, we can't say anything nice about people, can we? You know, my mum can't sit there and say, you know, my daughter's got, you know, a really big heart and, you know, loves to help and, you know, and always has been like this. In fact, I even remember you know, as a kid, people out on the streets and my mum telling me, you know, that these people were parasites. And I never respected that about her. I never saw people who lived on the streets as parasites. I had that with my ex-husband as well. You know, I would come out of co-op and I would slip somebody a sandwich and my ex-husband would have a go at me for it. And it's like, no, because I know what it was like at 11 years old to run away from home and, you know, the rain get you and, you know, your white underwear underneath your jeans turning blue and it getting really cold and not quite sure where to go and having to go home and turn around and go back. But it wasn't like that for Dean. Dean didn't turn around and go home. He carried on. you know. So from, you know, literally from about 11, you know, he was eating out of dustbins, eating out of bins, you know, eating out of the back of restaurants and things, being a kid, you know, surviving on the fucking streets. So I don't have that attitude towards people, because I always believe that you can never really tell what somebody's going through, and what might appear very simple to one person might be a big struggle to somebody else. Like my parallel universe that I'm going through today, over it being Victorious weekend, it being the week, you know, the time that comes at me again, because we have a lot of stuff going on, and obviously people don't want Kelly Cotton breaking her gag, because if they did and this evidence got out and it proved that Aaron and Faith were actually kidnapped, it would collapse this whole system. They know this. They know that my paperwork holds the key to a lot of this stuff. You know, even you know, the judge decided to print my Bailey and make it look like something very different. You know, I've never been associated with drugs and alcohol in that way. It was Aaron and Faith's father, but he tried to make it read as if it was me, deliberately, you know. So I just think doing this book is the best thing that I could do, because I've never had a voice. I've never had a voice. I might sit here, but I've never had a voice. I've always had to sit down, shut up, and do as I was told. You know, I'm wrong. You know, that's not how you really feel. You know, not to speak back, not to argue back. So I've never been able to give my version of the truth. It's like, even when I had all these social workers around me as a kid, they never talked to me. And when I read back the foster care files, that clearly reflects that they never spoke to me, because what I see going on, and, you know, corruption aside, everything within the social care system stuff, whether you're going to see your GP doctors, whether you're getting counselling, whether you're talking to your family, whether you're talking to your friends, it really, really is true that people can only see from their own point of view and from their own perspective, from their own understanding. And social media is really, really not a good platform to get a big picture out, because you get little tidbits. Even here talking, some people might have time to catch up for 5 minutes, some people might sit here and watch it all, but unless you watch the one previously, you won't know how it links up. And there's pieces of information that I don't continue, because this is all part of a journey. And you just can't get that full perspective. It's like going to the doctors the other day. You know, I still won't get that full perspective over with the GP about what needs to happen right now, because what I'm trying to do with my life right now is get hold of it in such a way that I'm the one in control of my life, because I've literally come from you know, going to make that move down south, having my mum ring me and causing all that fucking hoo-ha, accusing me of stealing her fucking boyfriend's chain that she was given and all this crap. So I completely slammed the brake on that move. And I was literally, you know, moving from north to south, and moving my kids, you know, down, and moving around my family, to slamming that on, to the point that my mum found her necklace and never actually, you know, apologized to me in any way, shape or form for the nasty, nasty things that she said and calls me. Never does she ever apologize. Bit like Dean, I don't like people like that. If you say something to somebody, and it doesn't matter whether you've said it because you're in a foul mood, it doesn't matter if you've said it because you were just having a dick-ass day, it really, really, really is important, you know, to take that time out, especially if that relationship matters to you. And I've never had that. In fact, I don't ever remember my mum ever telling me she loves me. And I certainly don't ever remember my dad as a kid, as a baby, as a little girl, you know, there was the endearing, used to call me Poppet, and that was it. But, you know, my kids are told that they're loved every day. You know, I'm Elijah's best friend, and you know, that level is really, 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 really important to me. So, but yeah, I am going through things, and my mum has no right whatsoever to be the sort of person to be going, oh, it's a mental illness. I've had that all my life from my mum. I don't have a mental illness. What I have is arsehole issues. I have people who have no understanding of loyalty, who have no understanding of full-blown commitment, and who, what's the word? Yeah, I like loyalty. Loyalty is really, really, really important to me. Amber proved something to me with loyalty, by the way, because obviously when Amber came over to England, there was a lot of crossovers and stuff, and I'm trying to explain to people it's just not right at the time at the moment. I mean, a one-bedroom flat, you know, to have people stay is a fucking nightmare. But, you know, she came. But, you know, at the end of the day, Amber proved to me that she doesn't go off and going, oh, you know, this and that and this and that. The fact is, we weren't in the right situation for it. We said that from the beginning, and we couldn't have her stay for the length of time that she wanted to. You know, we made that clear from the beginning, but people like to go off on their own ankles and their own plans. But one thing Amber proved to us is that she was loyal. She was loyal. You know, when you're like, take Victorious for example. So take Professor Green for example. In fact, I didn't check. I've just had a message. I didn't check. Some video of him in the bath is in my PM at the moment. I think it's gone out to everybody. But you know, take those guys for an example. So they come to Portsmouth, they go on stage, they play, they run their social media, they do what they need to do. They need to know, because they're in the media and stuff like that, they need to know that the community that are around them, as in their friends and their family, like me and Dean both know that the moment we get the chance and the tools that we need to do what we need to achieve, that we will both be very successful people. And one of the conversations that Dean and I had very early when we first got together was that we both wanted to meet somebody who had nothing, because we wanted to build alongside each other together. So don't call Dean. Yeah, Dean is out there fucking working his ass off, mate. Dean is out there on a shoestring, literally trying to pull together stuff that you wouldn't even get off your lazy fucking fat asses and try to put your life back together after what that man's been through. And there's not many people that even know what Dean has gone through. In fact, there's very, very few people, because he's a very, very private person, and he doesn't sit there talking about what people may or may not have done to him. It is coming out. It will be in his book as well. But at the end of the day, we want people in our lives that we can sit around a table, and we know full well that even if Dean and I go and might go at each other, that we've got people around us who empower and enable us as a couple. We don't have that. In fact, Dean has been slagged off since the moment he got together with me, and not because of anything that he'd done, but because of my experience of my family having with my previous relationship. Dean was written off from the word go. And that happens in a lot of relationships in families. Tell me how many people out there have ever brought a boyfriend home that your mother has liked. Yeah. And I think it's really unfair. And I'm going to warn you, heads up to the people who are allowing this to continue. And I'm letting it go on for a reason, because I know exactly what my mum's going to put out there. I know exactly what words she uses. I've had it 41 years. Okay. I've had it 41 years. So I'm going to watch your reaction and I'm going to see what drama you pick up on, because there's a few of you that I'm starting to sort of see here more and more often. So that means that we're starting to build a little bit of a personal relationship, because the fact is, I don't know any of you. In fact, every one of you sitting here watching this right now has no association into my personal life whatsoever. We don't sit down and have meals together. We don't go out and have coffees together. We're not out on our roller skates together. We're not arranging to go to a festival together. We're not arranging next year's, snowboarding holiday together. We're not sitting down talking about plans that we're going to have together. We're not sitting and talking about, stuff that we're going to do. We're not going to go out to the cinema together with each other. We're not going to have a picnic up at the park unless it's a support network group for parents that have had kids taken. The fact is, we're not friends. We're not. We're not. One of the biggest problems that goes on in this world is there's no interpersonal relationships with family, friends, community and stuff like that. Believe it or not, I'm a very personal person, very quiet person. Yeah. Even though when I worked at the nightclubs, they used to call me Crazy Angel. So I used to have a facade that used to go on, the mad one, the crazy one, the one that gets you out on the dance floor. But then we'd go and sit down and have a coffee and chill out in peace and quiet. People are always going to come to tell me who I am, what I'm about, what I am, what this is, who Dean is, what Dean may be, what Dean may not be. But the reality is, you will never know Dean the way that I know Dean. I am not saying that Dean has some great behaviours at the moment. He is going through some stuff that you could never, ever imagine, some of the stuff that boy went through. And if you, as a human being, including my own mother, yeah, who seems to have a lot of sympathy for my sister's a fella who didn't endure even 1% of what Dean went through. But hey ho, she'll help him become, one of the head bankers for these people. But, anyway, I wasn't here to slag off my mum. I just made a comment today that I'm disappointed. That's the thing that's hurting me the most, is that, I put all my effort into moving down south, so I'm disappointed with mum and dad. But, that's when people project, yeah, when people, are... So she doesn't speak to me at all, by the way, my mum, just for those who want to engage in her gaslighting and narcissistic behaviour and abuse towards me. So if you wish to abuse me through my mother, bring it on. Do go there with me. You won't last in my life more than 2 seconds, and you certainly won't last on my social media. And if you want to go out there and deposit your shit to other people, it's your karma you're facing, and the Lord very much protects my family. So, the karma that you'll face. And as I say to my mum, yeah, get away with your demonic little pagan negative words that you want to spill on me. Just like the woman who come at my son and called him, hey, trouble. Yeah, no, my son is not trouble. Go away with your fucking evil demonic words. Yeah, if you want to step to my son and say, hey, angel, that's fine. Or hey, mate, that's fine. You want to bring nice, lovely, empowering words to my children, that's fine. But if you want to step to my children and call them stupid, or you're this or you're that, I suggest you step away. I will fight you more over the physical words that you put on my children than if you came at me with a fist. Because the damage that you can do with a physical fist is nothing in comparison to what you can do with words. This is my mum, by the way, who caused for my son to have to remain downstairs after he was taken off of me even longer, because she insisted on telling everybody that my son's name was Eli, so they couldn't find him on the damn system. So had she had said his name was Elijah from that very first moment, and had they had got hold of the social worker that was involved in us, Elijah would have been returned to me immediately. But no, she failed to allow that to happen, because she insisted on calling him Eli to the social worker and everybody, because she doesn't want to call him Elijah. His name is Elijah. Not Eli, Elijah. So anyway, like I said, I think the book is probably the best thing that I could do right now, because I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say to a few people. And I think it's about time that I had the chance to do that, because I've had to put up and shut up my entire life, you know, and be it school, be it social services, be it relationships I've been in, be it my own family, I've had to put up and shut up. Do as you're told, don't whinge, and just get on with it. And I'm at a point in my life now where I'm 41. I feel far more confident in myself. I'm annoyed with a lot of the things that I've lost out on, because I've spent a lot of years allowing for these relationships to do this to me. But that's for my forgiveness to deal with within myself for allowing that to continue for so long. I have always loved my family. I've always loved my parents. And I've ended up trying to live in their approval, which I'm never going to get. There is nothing that I could ever do that's going to make my parents ever look at me with love. And I hate that word proud, but there's nothing I can do. Nothing. If I'm pregnant, it's a disaster. If I go to college, I'm wrong. If I go to university, I'm wrong. If I graduate from university, I'm wrong. If I went and become a doctor, I would be wrong. If I become a solicitor, I would be wrong. If I work for homeless, I would be wrong. There is absolutely nothing I can do in my mother's eyes that will ever, ever, ever make me right about anything. I could completely fucking halt the adoption drive, cause a full-blown investigation, completely change this entire fucking system around to being a family supportive system, and my mum would still shit all over me. So, yeah. So to the people who want to, I'm actually allowing my mother, usually I just get Amber to deal with it and that's it. But I am leaving it to continue, because it's been really, really, really hard for me to make this decision about going to court. And the reason is because ultimately it's my mum and my dad I've got to sue. And this has been a really hard decision for me to make, because I've tried and tried to give my mum and dad the option of writing a letter to get all of this information removed from my files, from comments that my mum had said in social services meetings, and even my stepfather Trevor, comments that he'd made, and all of this is what created the file that created Aaron and Faith being taken as well. So the fact is, I just want to be able to live free, to be me, to do what I love, and to have the right health care providers around me that support my body. Like right now, I'm sitting with an absolute knife stabbing in the back of my neck at the moment, and like some people might notice, I start using my eyes more than turning my head when my head is really struggling. And this with my neck has been going on now since I was about 14. I think the first time that I really, really started struggling with my neck was about 14. And then I got taken into A&E giving my husband a blowjob. And I actually did get taken into A&E. And then obviously when Liam was 7 months old, and then this sort of kicked a lot of this stuff off. And this is what sort of started a lot of stuff with problems with my family as well, because every time I went to the doctors, I got taken off to A&E. To A&E, I got taken off to the mental health unit, and it took 22 years to be diagnosed. But what people haven't done is deleted all of the memories that they had. So rather than going, oh, all the drama from Kelly, nobody's ever looked at me and gone, shit, what did we put her through? Like, seriously? Nobody's ever looked at it from my point of view of what them bastards have put me through. with the hospitals and the doctors and my mum and my dad. I remember laying on my nan's bed at my nan's house at 11 years old, crying about the pain in my knees, and my mum turning around and going, "Can you not whinge about it at school?" And, you know, saying, "Well, nobody's listening, nobody's doing anything about it. Can you not have a problem at school so somebody finally does something or something?" And I remember my friends knocking on my door, and my mum going, "Are you going out?" And I'm going, "No, mum, my knees are hurting." And getting into trouble because I wouldn't go out and play. And constantly having to tell my family that my knees hurt, and being taken to the doctors and being told it's just growing pains. You know, if you had a child now and they broke their arm and you took them to A&E and that doctor said there's nothing wrong with that child's arm, what sort of person are you to walk away and leave your child in constant agony and pain and telling them to shut up, there's nothing wrong with you? I have had this my whole life. Do you know what I get? I get, don't do that. That's what I get. So if I try to explain to someone and I do this, I get, oh. That's the face that I have had to look at my whole life, from being 3, 4, 5, even 6. I can remember a school trip at the age of 6. I remember wearing my clown uniform, you know, and I can remember getting my shoulders stuck and the problems that I was having. You know, the fact that I would sit on a chair in school and I would wiggle or sit to the side and I'd get told off for this. You know, that I used to start whinging about PE, and I love games, I love sports, you know, and I'd stop bringing my PE uniform because it would be too much, you know, because people would be pushing me, and I'd be playing netball and I'd go to shoot a goal, and as soon as I'd gone to shoot a goal, my shoulder would stop and freeze, or my fingers would bend back, or I would sprain my ankle. And the attitude that I always had from people was always, and stuff. And of course, I didn't know what was going on, you know. So you're talking about a baby that was born with, from what my notes are saying, with a congenital dislocated hip, cord wrapped round the neck, upside down, breech baby, high jaundice, would have been born with EDS and as an Asperger's baby. That was it. I was born that way. Just because I wasn't diagnosed doesn't mean I wasn't born that way. You know, so, and even my aunties have told me that I was a very floppy baby. So that level of pain has existed in me since I was born. My joints have rubbed together in the way that they hurt me now, literally since I was a child. So even though I was going to martial arts, like my dad as well used to put me on ball of foot all the time, right? So if you don't know what ball of foot is, I would literally, not some toys, I'm sorry, I would literally have to go, this is in martial arts, so I'd have to go and sit. So if I take my shoes off. So in class, my dad used to make me, so if I got, because I was with Neil, so Neil was my abuser, by the way. So Neil would go to grab my boob and I'd go bang with my elbow. So my dad used to put me on ball of foot. So that means I have to sit there like that, on ball of foot, hands behind my head, head up to the ceiling, right? What that's done is it's caused for the two nerves. So I can actually show you some. I can probably show you, because obviously I'll talk from an EDS point of view. I'll probably get some idiot now. Show babes, go fuck yourself. So if I show you just here on my back how my back is actually quite straight. Well, it's not actually like that. Right, that's what my back's like. So I don't know if you can see that my body's not actually aligned. So I don't want to reveal too much of my top. So here, in my spine here, there you go, is not actually seated in the right place. So it should be there, but it won't. It'll sit forward. Got a bit of a pot belly going on this morning. So, because my dad used to make me sit like that, what he's done is with having EDS, what it does with the EDS side here is it's called nodding dog. So basically, that rod that sits up works in the same way that my knuckles do. So where my tendons all move around, and they'll do it in my shoulder as well, they'll do it in my knees, they'll do it in my jaw, they do it all the way around. They'll do it in the sockets of my eyes here, they'll do it around the bridge here, do it in my teeth. You can see my teeth starting to fall away. I can just pull all the grassels out from my jaw. Don't know if you can hear my jaw. My jaw's knackered, absolutely knackered. But what all of them, like, so literally up from the age of 4 up until the age of 11, I used to have to go onto ball of foot. Now, when you put my head back, there it is, you put your head back there, where it sits on the thing, mine doesn't sit on it properly. So I have to have an upright MRI. I've only ever had laying down MRIs. I'm waiting for an upright, but it's going to cost me 1,500 quid. Then it will show it properly, but we've already had it assessed. This was all going on before Aaron and Faith came into the world. It was just that Professor Bird retired in 2010, and then I was left with having to deal private, having to deal with me trying to explain to people, because yet again I'm breastfeeding, so trying to explain to people that when a woman with EDS has a baby, it changes the whole structure of a bit of a thing. And when you give birth, like, my mum will never know this because we were all whipped out from her belly, so she doesn't know what it's like to have a head come out through the pelvis. So she hasn't had to break her pelvis in the same way that I have, so she doesn't live with this. And nor has she breastfed. I think she breastfed my sister for a bit, but she didn't breastfeed me or my sister, so I don't think so. I know she breastfed one of them for a bit, but when you breastfeed, you produce prolactin. So what the prolactin does is it causes for your body to be even more lax, which is why that I'm starting to wane and drain right now. The moment that I stop feeding Elijah, then my body will start to reverse that level of prolactin. After about 18 months, it will start normalizing itself. And my biggest struggle in my life, it doesn't matter what argument I'm having with anybody, it is trying to explain to people the complete exhaustion that I start with. Like when Dean was home just before he went off to Spain, or Italy, I don't know. I just, seriously, they do what they do. I don't ask questions. I don't get involved. I don't really want to know. I'll read about it all in his book later. I'm sure there's many women out there that couldn't cope with not knowing where somebody was or what they were doing and not communicating, but that's mine and Dean's way of dealing with things. If you don't like it, you don't have to be involved in it, do you? So why you want to go off and start calling him a sperm donor for going out there and trying to get his career back? Go fuck yourselves, you cunt. Yeah, that's what I think. Yes, unless you've actually sat down with Dean, talk to him about how he lost his studio, what happened to all of his records and his LPs, what happened with his albums, who's ripped him off, who's stolen this, what happened with all of the artwork, why his graffiti artwork was never meant to be for sale, and why they steal doors off walls and go and auction them off, and why he's fuming that art galleries are making shitloads of money out of branding all of his graffiti work and stuff. and you know why he gets annoyed, and he has every right to get annoyed, and also why he struggles as well with me talking about paedophilia and state kidnapping and all of this and abusive foster care, when the man is only just dealing with his trauma and issues from running away from foster care, who literally had just ran away from foster care, ran away from his attempts of sexual abuse, moved on with his life, and then gets together with somebody like me and has to face this head on and deal with it for the first time. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I really won't go there. Whatever, you know, my social media was created for a reason, okay? And that is that there is 3 headings in any form of personal development: health, wealth, and relationships. That's it. Everything in sales runs around those 3 things. We as individuals are always looking at our health, our wealth, and our relationships. That's it. It is them 3 things that govern everything. How, whether we're poor or wealthy would be our deciding vote. Whether we are ill or healthy, or whether we've got dysfunctional or functional relationships, that is the pinnacle of absolutely everything. So when I went out into the media, it was about a single mother with a physical condition trapped in the benefit system. So therefore there was the 3 things, okay? Just because you read an article in paper, don't think the person wrote that article for, I'm going to write this article, but there's no other agenda behind it. I thought this was going to carry on, and then my book would have come out, and then bang, I would have carried on with all of the other stuff and moved it forward. I never expected for my mum to go and meet with all of my family to try to get an injunction on my book, which caused me absolute stumbling blocks. And then I never expected the shit that I got with Stephen at the time about my book, because obviously I talked about my days as being an escort, and he didn't want people in the pub to go, oh, your missus is this, this and this. So he didn't want that information out there either. What you'll notice with me is people come in and troll me when they don't want me to share information because they're worried about what they're going to look like. Because at the end of the day, my family have failed me. I failed myself in my own ways, but my family failed me. My family failed me massively. In fact, my family should be out fucking jumping out of aeroplanes to raise funds for me to go and get this surgery done on my neck. Do you know what I mean? That's what a real family would be doing. My family would have all turned up at court, whatever work they had or whatever the problems were with the travel, rather than spending your time going around and collecting how to get an injunction against me for reading a book. Maybe you could go around as a family and spend time on how you were going to help in this situation. That would have been lovely. You know, could you imagine if I turned up at court, my dad, my mum, my uncles, aunts, brothers and sisters all stood there and going, well, you know, what support system were you saying she doesn't have again? Game over. There's your fucking case closed. Yeah, just because my family was stood there, that showed the judge that what they were trying to claim, that there was a sorry, what was the reasons I don't have my kids again? Because I have an attachment disorder towards my mother and my father because of the severity of the rejection and the high level of abuse that I've experienced through the dumping and the removal. This is the court's words, not mine, not any information from me either. This is all of the information that was in my foster care file, yes? Nothing to do with me. I wasn't even invited to the fucking meetings. So I just feel that I've come to a crossroads in my own life where the past is now affecting my future. And I do have a future ahead of me. That future is going to be with Dean and my boys. I don't know what's going to happen up until Christmas because we haven't really planned further than this Christmas. This is Dean's last on-foot tour. His focus is on his book next year. You guys might have caused enough fucking problems between us because do you know what? Me and Dean have never actually had an argument between the two of us over anything that we've done. All starts over this. All starts over something that somebody will message him, PM Dean, one of you people, or one of them causes problems and rings social. And my mum is a massive big problem to Dean, and rightfully so. You know, at the end of the day, she did take Elijah when he was removed from me that time, but my mum also then emotionally played games with me. He was a breastfeeding little boy. Yeah, he was a breastfeeding little boy. I'm not surprised his routine was completely thrown out. He'd gone from being with his mother that he's been with day in, day out on breastfeeding, to all of a sudden to a complete stranger that he's never stayed with. Yeah, he's just spent 4 hours with her for the first time. Yeah, and then all of a sudden thrown into all of that. And what she did, and it will be in my book because it's very prolific what she did. You know, in one, she took Dean's phone. I get her reasons why she took Dean's phone. She probably wanted to try and suss him out, try and see what he was involved in, whatever, that's fine. You know, we had that woman posting all over. My mum has never even bothered to actually find out whether it was true or not. You know, the woman was fucking crazy fuckhead. It turned out that she was an adult social worker who was a forced adoption herself, who was very, very severely fucking damaged, mate. Yeah, who lied about being with Dean. Yeah. So my mum can call him all the names, but that man was innocent in that situation. Yeah, there's my mum reading and feeding me all this stuff back and drama because I can't see it because, you know, I can't see, she had me all blocked and everything, so I couldn't see the post. So my mum's reading it back to me and telling me. All I said to Dean is, you've got two choices, get her on the phone and, you know, and, but he, you know, and then that led into all the other stuff and everything else. So, at the end of the day, I'm a very, very, very prolific campaigner in speaking about child sexual abuse. I have been a mentor for people of child sexual abuse since I was 21. Whether my family know this or not, you know, even at university, I coached and mentored people through sexual abuse. That's what I did. That's what I started my degree in. That's why I went to do university studies. I wanted to be able to do art and music and dance therapy with people to overcome their traumas. That's what I studied for. That's what I did what I did. And why did I do that? Because of how my family and the support systems dealt with how I disclosed childhood sexual abuse. I disagreed with the way that it was done. I disagreed with how my family did it. In fact, my family double abused me because of how they dealt with it. I'm not saying it was the right thing, but I wasn't the problem. And this is what people are not understanding. I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But I haven't been the problem in these situations. I actually haven't. In the matter with Aaron and Faith, okay, I transferred from income support to tax credits. That left me with 2 years, yeah, where I needed 2 years books to go back into private rental or into buying my own home. I strategically sat down to look at how I was going to bridge this gap, whether I was going to move down south, whether I was going to move up north. I never, ever, ever take a decision lightly. I would have ran 49 fucking mazes before I make them decisions. So I'm very, very, very methodical about making decisions. So, you know, at the end of the day, when I spoke to Save the Family, it was about me having them 2 years. It was about me bridging them gaps for them 2 years. I didn't write that you need 2 years financial books for that. That wasn't, hey, I've got, you know, I didn't write that target. I just knew that that was what I needed to achieve. 2 years functional books. That's what I was aiming for. 2 years functional books. What's the first thing that Save the Family said to me? Can't be self-employed. In fact, that's the biggest problem that I've had my whole life. You can't be self-employed. Well, I'm sorry, but I can't work in normal employment. Your own country will tell you that. And it would be unfair to put somebody like me in somebody's in employment like that. I wouldn't be able to last it out physically with my body. That's just the way it goes. I'm the sort of person that will do very intensive short-term projects, because I can sustain something like that. You know, it's better for me to work over the consecutive 6 weeks. To do a festival like Victorious, yeah, would be better for somebody like me. So to have the weeks that lead up to it, where everybody else is doing the running around, cracking the whip at the event, and then just seeing it out and making, you know, high and large amounts of money, to sort of move on, works better for somebody like me than get up and do 12-hour shifts on a daily basis. It's not my fault that each and every different person in the world has been groomed and brainwashed to a certain level of belief systems. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that one person has a father who goes to work 7 days a week to work on a labouring job for, say, 400 or 500 quid a week, where you know, somebody might go and work from 9 to 5 in a as a doctor or something, earning 50, 60 grand a year, and can buy their kids some trainers. And it's not my fault that somebody else's dad might actually be an entrepreneur or have loads of properties and loads of businesses. It's not my fault whether you've ended up in the benefit system or a dead-end job. What I'm here to tell you is you have a choice. It's what I started my social media for, was to tell you that you have a choice, that you will go through life and one day an opportunity may come along for you to just pause, to be able to go, whoa, hang on a minute, how did I get here? Is this actually where I wanted to be? You know, this is what Challenge Britain was about. It was about looking in the mirror and going, am I happy with my life right now? Is this where I want to be? You know, and one of the models within Step Up Britain was to basically look at all aspects of your life, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy you were with that, or whether or not it needed to be worked on. Like if you're looking in the mirror, and like me back in 2010, you're just in a size 18 absolute blubber fat fucker, and when I looked in the mirror, I wasn't happy. You know, I just looked in the mirror and I just saw this blimp. I couldn't go out clothes shopping. You know, I'd go into next changing shops and I'd be trying to get jeans on, to the point that I just stopped because I was fat, you know. But sometimes people will be unhappy, but they will stay in that place. And not because they can't do something about it, but because they become so unhappy with it that they've softened it and convinced themselves that it's okay. I'm big boned, blah, 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 blah. No, I was fat. I was unhappy and I was fat. I was grotesquely fat. You know, I just literally had 2 years of slip discs on and off constantly while dealing with, you know, a very negative, dysfunctional relationship, very challenging relationship. On no fault of, again, even Stephen. I'm not here to slag Stephen off. Stephen had his issues. He was dealing with them, and it wasn't personal. What I went through with Stephen wasn't personal to me. Wasn't personal to me, and this is what's very difficult for people to understand. You know, the fact that Dean's got his phone blocked off to me and stuff like that, that isn't personal to me. That is Dean trying to cope with the fact that his family's drowning right now. I'm drowning right now, and he, as the provider, has got to pull something off dramatically to rescue his family. That's a lot of pressure, and he doesn't have any support or anybody around, you know. And again, if he had all of his equipment and all his tools, it would be different. But like me, he's also coming through his grief. He's also coming through his trauma. It's okay for people to say, hey, you got to get on with your normal everyday life, and you got to pack that depression up, and you got to get all rid of that anxiety, and you got to get rid of that EDS. Sorry, it's a bit of an inconvenience today. You know, we need you on the ball today. We need you, you know, to come to work and do your job today. We need you to just put that stuff aside so you can clock in and clock off. And if you want to pick them conditions up later, that will be fine. It's not like that. You know, this morning when I woke up, I was actually really excited about, you know, moving forward to this weekend. But last night, I didn't manage to get this flat done. I was too tired. And even now, you know, the stuff has all just been thrown on the chair. So I've caused another problem for myself. But, you know, to to just seriously, for me, I just need to live in a home where everything has a place, everything has a space, where I have my own bedroom and I can literally wake up from my bed in the morning and jump in my nice shower at the bottom of my bed, and I can go to my drawers, and that's where my underwear is, that's where my bras are, that's where my socks are. My clothes are hanging up in the wardrobe. I can get my shoes out. And Sunday, I spent all Sunday ironing. So actually everything that is in my wardrobe is all pristine, ready to just grab out and take out and put on. And that's the way that I like to function. And that's very normal for somebody like me. But I don't have a bedroom. I don't have a wardrobe space and drawers for my stuff. I have makeshifts. I have things that I'm accommodating and assimilating to. I have spaces that we are trying to make functional, but it isn't functional because it's the boys' bedroom. Hence why I have a mountain of clothes that I've got to go through. So I will get through that. But trying to explain to somebody to fold, do this. Can you hear it? Oh, I can feel it, but I don't know if you can hear it. What that's doing there is burning, man. It's like burning all the way down my spine, all the way down my shoulders. My shoulders are clicking. My ribs have just gone down here, and my neck is going click, click, click. And that is just literally picking up clothes, folding, yeah, ironing. You want to do an ironing with me? Yeah? Seriously, you want to do some ironing with me? That'd be great. Hoovering. Yeah, it's not quite easy. It's not as easy as you think with a body like this. Like to go and play tennis with me? Hey, I'm going to pull the socket out. My body works the way that it does 24/7. There's nothing I can do about it. My body is no different to anybody else's body, just that mine doesn't work. Mine is not the same to any other EDS person. You cannot put me in comparison to anybody. How I deal with it in comparison to how somebody else deals with it is how we deal with it. Nobody is right, nobody is wrong. For somebody who wants to sit in a wheelchair with their head strapped to a cage, with their cage on and their back belt on to keep it all supported because they really don't want to take any risks, that's up to them. I choose not to be that way, and the reason that I choose not to be that way is because it's too much of an inconvenience for me being a mum to be that way, and I really don't like being braced up. And it's okay to brace for a couple of hours, but it's not okay to be in them braces all the time. And I used to have braces on my wrists, and what I used to find was the moment I took them off, my hands would just go. And it was like, you know, come on, I've got to get the stability, you know, because you won't sort of see what my hands and things are like. But, you know, you just wouldn't get the stability. Apparently this is all in my head, by the way, according to the courts, yeah. Which, you know, and to my family and my friends, yeah, I'm making this shit up. It's all drama. All drama. Kelly's all drama. That's all I ever hear from these Muppets. All drama. Maybe they'll say something nice about me one day. Hey, what do you reckon? Do you reckon I could get a really nice comment from them on one day? You know, but I've had to say as well, it wasn't that long ago that my stepmom, my second stepmom, had liked a post. Oh yeah, and people have been trying to blame these bruises on Dean, by the way. Dean's not here, yeah? Like I've been trying to tell you, my children are putting their knees in me as they're climbing, yeah? So to you cunts who have been trying to work and make out, yeah, that I get a lot of bruising around my arms, yeah? And you've been trying to blame it on Dean with your little shitty little comments and stuff. And I've been trying to tell you, my children are putting their knees. So I have bruises in exactly the same places as last time, because these bruises come pretty much every day because my children crawl over me. Yes, Dean has not been here now nearly 9 days. Yes, so no, it is not Dean causing these bruises. So to you vile, vile, vile people who have been going, oh, do you see the bruises on there again? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Really, go fuck yourself. I've got to a point in my life now where I don't know who's here again, by the way. it used to really hurt me, because the problem with social media is someone can come on and cause a fire within seconds. Yeah, someone can come on here and say, "Oh, did you know? I know Kelly. I knew Kelly from years ago. Did you know she was this, and this?" Then all of a sudden, everybody else reads it, and they're going, so all of a sudden, you've lost the people that are, you're trying to help. Do you know what I mean? And then, or so it's like reputation. I don't give a shit about reputation. What you choose to think about me is your opinion. There's nothing I can do about that. So what I have an issue with is why people listen to people who are the sort of people that like to talk bad mouths and nastiness about people in the first place. Because I look at those sort of people and think, I remember what the Bible said about gossips, and idle gossips. You're an idle gossip. So that makes you somebody very dangerous to be in my life. And one of the things that I've always struggled with is, I don't like conflict, by the way. I'm really not good in conflicting situations, be it that I'm in probably one of the most conflicting situations right now, but I don't like conflict. I'm actually really bad at communication, where I have to actually pull somebody up and sort of say, this stuff isn't working. I don't like having to ask people to leave my life. I don't like having to sort of set a boundary with somebody. But I can be the sort of person who'll start ranting and coming out of my pot, because my communication structures is not great. But don't ever go at me over it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm literally this week, as from already now, I'm putting myself through something that's going to take off some onion layers of my pain that I've been masking to cope, as a coping strategy to deal with what's going on. And that means every couple of days or so, I tend to sort of well up or get a bit upset and stuff like that. Or I turn to smoking, or I can't get out on my roller skates at the moment with my music, which really isn't helping me. I need something like that pretty much every day. Somebody like me needs to be training, needs to be exercising. It keeps me in a good place. And it's really important, as I go through this now, that I go through this with people that are going to help me through that path. So I don't need people who are not loyal in my life right now. I might find I get quite snappy, because I'm going to be giving up smoking for all of this. I'm completely going for a full detox. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I've got to go through my paperwork. The problems that I have with my paperwork is it can set me on fire, because it doesn't matter how many times I go through my paperwork, I always read something in a different way, a different content. I might see it slightly different from last time, or I didn't quite see it because I was focused on something else. It's very difficult to have paperwork, which is why the court process doesn't work in its own right. To put somebody through that is trauma in itself. If you've got somebody, say me, 41, who's got to go into court tomorrow, and all of a sudden the judge turns around and talks about when I was being raped at 15, you're like, whoa, I did not see that coming. Where is the shrink? Come on, someone get a fucking counsellor against me. You've just completely fucking turned me into an alcoholic and a drug addict just by throwing me off my feet with that. Do you know what I mean? Traumatic things are traumatic to people. We have emotions, we have feelings. I have feelings. I do feel, believe it or not, I have emotions. I cry. I'm not this unemotional person, narcissistic fucking, my mum will tell you I am, but if I did, I'd have no empathy whatsoever. I have so much empathy. I care so much about this. I get so hurt. I mean, what's flipped me off lately is the fact that one of the mums is going to get a baby taken off of her, and I don't understand why she's getting a baby taken off of her. It doesn't make sense to me. I haven't read everything. I don't know what's going on, but I've really enjoyed seeing her post. We had a conversation at the beginning, You know, there's no reason why they shouldn't be working with her. She's worked all the way through it. She's done everything that she was told, but the judge has still made the decision at the end of that. Now she spent all of her time with her little baby Darcy, and you know, and now she's going to lose that baby. And I don't understand this. I don't get this. It doesn't register in my head why people who, that mother is not going to matter to them tomorrow. That mother is not going to matter to them once they've taken that baby off of her, and all they're going to be thinking about is the adopters that they're finding to put this baby with, while that mother is going to be really hurting and struggling. And I just don't get this stuff. I can't get my head around the coldness that people have got to take a baby off of somebody and not believe that there is consequences to this. And not just to the parents, but to the children. My mum can say that anything is part of my sickness. The only illness that I live with is the fact that I was taken from my mum. And I never got the chance to bond with my mum. And that's never happened. I've never had a bond or an attachment with my mum. I've had a good friend relationship when I used to go and see her every other weekend, but I've never had a mother relationship. And you can't say it's because she was 16, that's a load of bollocks, because I was 17 when I had my son, and me and my son have a bond together, so you can't say age is anything to do with it. But then the times were different, you know. My son was born in the 1990s and I was born in the 70s, so it was different. It was different. But what is annoying me is that people don't take the time to care anymore, to really care. Like, I'm annoyed with Dean in some instances is because he's so focused on getting his career back on path, and I get it. And I wasn't involved. I've only been with Dean for 4 years. I haven't been with him with the journey that's led up. His life come way before me. You know, we haven't been together all the way through this. His life, he has every right to get back what was taken from him, just as I have with Aaron and Faith. So he's got that with India and Rocco, and I've got that with Aaron and Faith. And just as what I've got with Step Up, he has with, you know, his music and his art and stuff. And that's not been easy. It's not been easy at all. It's not been easy between the two of us bouncing off each other. We're not sitting down with shrinks and counsellors. You know, we're literally two people who come together. And my mum said it, two people with all that baggage, it'd be poison. No, what you do is you love them two people even more. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what you do. You show kindness and compassion and understanding, and you love them even more. Yeah. And actually, wouldn't it have been nice if someone in my family had actually taken the time and said to Dean, how the fuck did you get her off of Downing Street? Whatever you did to get her off, thank you. You know, wouldn't it have been nice for people to actually have turned around to Dean and gone, like, you know, she's been like a bull in a china shop since the kids were taken, and none of us have been able to get her to stop. So, the fact that Dean actually managed to get me out of that loop, I'd probably been better off staying in it, to be honest, and had, you know, the anger to them, to Aaron and Faith being adopted, probably would have blown the lid off all of it. But I was at the situation where obviously campaigners were being killed or taking their own lives, and I think people were worried that I was going to take mine. So yeah, it would have been really, really, really lovely for them to have actually have said to Dean. But Dean has been punished by my family since the moment I got with him, not because of anything that he's done, but because of what my previous partner did. So Dean was never given a chance by my boys. He was never given a chance by my mum. Well, he was actually by my mum, that's a bit wrong. But Dean is who he is. But the reason that I mentioned that is if I dare, and I'm going to go and have a look at the comments in a minute, and as soon as I see who it was that was writing that he was a sperm donor. Bye bye, because you're going to get deleted and blocked, and don't ever step near me again. Do you understand? Don't ever slag off a family member of mine. Don't ever darken my door. Don't ever call my children's father names around me whatsoever. And exactly the same with my mum. You know, I love my mum. I can say whatever I like about my mum, but you dare ever try saying anything in front of me, I'm likely to slam you one, just like I used to the social workers who used to think that they could slag my mum off in front of me, and it doesn't work. I'm not an ideal gossip. I don't like to get caught up in all of that stuff. And I am the sort of person that will say, if so-and-so's not here to defend themselves, well, then we don't have this conversation. It's as simple as that. I'm not here to talk about people behind their backs. If I can't say it to you, you know, that's just the way it is. So, you know, and I've always been like that with my mum. You know, and neither of my parents have ever called each other in front of me either. And I think that's one thing that my parents know, is if they had done, it just makes me look at the person who's doing it and changes my perception of them. I don't care what you're trying to tell me about somebody. I'm interested in why you're doing it, what your intentions of trying to badmouth somebody to me are. And I've had to live my entire life with everybody doing this, you know. So my nan has always had an opinion on why my mum left me. My mum didn't leave me. I've had to live my entire life believing that I was abandoned by my mum. I wasn't abandoned by my mum. I was dragged from my fucking mum, you know. I still don't know the ins and outs of it. It does cause me trauma. It does hurt me. It is part of my healing. It is part of some of the things that I deal with. And it is something that, you know, was brought into my paperwork. I'm sorry, it wasn't in my paperwork. It wasn't anything that I said. It wasn't information that I gave them. It was all in the urology. Yeah, that's what they do. They put together a urology. It come from, you know, my birth notes. That's where they get this shit from. Why my mum seems to think that, you know, it's all about you sitting down there and going, hang on, so-and-so, so-and-so day. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all, which is why I always used to ask my family about my medical notes, because I used to get all these questions about my medical notes, and then I used to ask my parents, and it would be like they wouldn't want to talk about it. And it was like, yeah, but I need to know about my birth. And it's like, well, I wasn't asking because I was asking about wanting to know my story. I was wanting to ask because the consultant is sitting there asking me, you know, about these questions, and we all know this is standard. They'll ask you, you know, like, is there any heart conditions in your family? And it's like, well, I have to sit there and go, well, my granddad died at a certain age and my nan was a bit early and stuff, but I don't know any of these things because my family don't talk about it. And this has caused me massive problems all my life because there's just so many fragmented pieces, and it's doing it now, which is why I made the decision to take some time off sick, because social media is not necessarily always a good thing, and there can be lots of pieces of information, and we have to be really, really careful what we choose to believe. Like, you're all sitting there listening to my mum right now, who's clearly obviously calling Dean a lot of nasty words and making out that on this and that, or maybe she's being quite nice. I don't know. I'm not really interested anymore. My tolerance to not being able to trust people has got to the point now where I just expect the worst from these people. I don't expect my mum coming on here going, do you know what, you know, I don't actually go out for a coffee with my daughter. I don't speak to her. I don't ring her. I don't see her. I don't have her in my life. I just sit watching her, stalking her on Crackbook and waiting to just come in when she says something I don't like. That's my relationship with my mother, by the way. So no, I'm not going out for tea or in Indian or for a meal with my mum tomorrow. We're not going to be at Victorious. I'm not going out shopping, looking for my new image clothes with my mum. Yes, my relationship with my mum is she sits and stalks me on social media, waiting for waiting for me to say something that she wants to oops upside the head over me for. So, you know, but that used to bother me. It used to bother me because then it would worry me about what people used to think. Well, I've come to this really amazing, beautiful place in my life right now where I know I'm a wonderful person. And I can actually say that with my hand on my heart, that when I actually look back and I look at things that I've overcome, the way that I've dealt with things, even when I've ended up in really, really, really shitty situations, the lines that I've not crossed. I don't take heroin. I'm not an alcoholic. I have my battles with smoking. I don't steal. I say I don't steal. However, I think putting my £1.50s in and getting petrol is still stealing. And the pork pies at Asda is still officially stealing, even though I do actually now put the wrapper through in the till. So that's class of stealing. So I wouldn't want to make a lie and then not add little bits in, because I have known to do those little silly things. When you go around Asda and you get the waffles out and you eat waffle and you end up with the last piece of wrapper. So that is officially stealing. And I did used to watch piracy videos, so that is officially stealing too. But I'm not, I'm not going out and putting guns to people's heads and robbing each other people. And I'm not a murderer, I'm not a killer, I'm not a fighter. I'm actually quite a soft person, really. I will help people if I can. But it's just that I'm at a point now where, like literally right now, there is less than my rent in, and I haven't paid my rent. This is the first time I haven't paid my rent. And the reason that I haven't paid my rent is because there's going to be no money for food or anything. Like, the moment the rent is paid, that is it. This universal credits thing. And again, this is not my fucking fault. Okay? I have been told I am not allowed to work. I have been told my paperwork is what took my kids. Yeah, mother puts career before child, right? Even though I hadn't even made the transfer information. I have been told I have to be a mother. Yeah, they're not asking me to work until my children are 2. So I have to sit on the fucking benefit system unless Dean pulls something out the fucking hat. So I have to remain in this situation. They illegally kicked me off. They've caused all of these hindrances in between. And as I've been telling people, when they do this, 6 months into it, it causes a big fucking pit. Because one, each week your rent is being put up as well. Because don't forget, in the benefit world, rent used to be paid every 4 weeks. Yeah, so every 2 weeks it's issued. Yes, we're monthly now, so some of them months are 5-week months, some of them aren't. So that then clips on. So I've already started to escalate. So I've already crept up to about £700 now, and I pay $413 a month. So I've already creeped up now. That's already starting to escalate. And then they do things like take my stuff and put charges on me, yeah, which don't fucking help. Or idiot features me getting locked out and a charge put on. My service charges go onto it, and my heating. So that annoys me. Yeah, I'm paying for heating that I don't even have on. Yeah, it's not even on. It's not even connected to the main funnel thing. It's all been disconnected by the council. So we don't even have heating on. So that universal credits thing, that's why people are taking their lives out there. So don't go, oh, Kelly's fucked up. No, I have been warning you about these fucking pits and these gaps, and now I'm in it. Yeah, and I'm in it. So this month, I literally lose the house and the kids if I don't come up with some solution. That's how bad things are. So my social media is going to be moving forward. And I really don't care about people that want to come into my office, into my workspace, into my creative space, into my zone. This is like stepping into my home, okay? Coming into my social media is like knocking on my front door, and you'll either be invited in or you won't. Now, the difference with my public page is you can actually peer through my windows and look at me and follow me around, and I don't even know who you are or where you are. You know, I can go and have a look and check it out and stuff, but I don't have time to do that. So So if people want to come in and troll and show disloyalty, like my brother-in-law did it the other day. I say my brother-in-law, me and Dean aren't married, but I've got Dean's kids for the rest of my life. But Dean is my husband for the rest of my life, and he will be my family member for the rest of my life, even if, you know, he doesn't come back from Spain and goes and meets somebody. That's how it is. His family will still be my kids' family. That doesn't change anything. I don't know why people seem to think it does. In my logic, it doesn't. If people want to go and live a hypocrite life, that's up to them, but I don't. So, you know, to come into this space, you know, if you knocked on my front door and you walked in and went, "Oh, hello, you little fucking slag," I'm going to turn around and go, "Oh, hello, excuse me," back out my door. Yeah. So when you come into my social media, I expect exactly the same courtesy in this space. So if you're sitting there having conversations on my wall and you're trashing my fella, what do you think's going to happen to you? You're going to get oops upside the head and you're going to be asked to leave my home. Yeah, because this is my office. Yeah, just because some people see social media and think it's some EastEnders Coronation Street drama thing, to some it's an office, it's a working tool, it's a means to an end. Some people, it's their life. They're coaches, we're building something. Hence why this is a business page. You're not in my normal account, you're on a business page. So if my mother wants to come into my office and behave this way, she's just showing me why I'm disappointed and why I'm disgraced and why that behavior says to me that that's not something that I want to look at my mother and go, "Hey, this is my mother." I would love to put up on my social media and say, "Hey, my mum's coming on live with me. She's going to be talking about writing a book and publishing it." Love to do that. Love to do that. Or, "Hey, you know, I'm posting something out from my mum," or even my mum out there, because my mum has filled in the child inquiry. You know, my mum is sitting here helping me get my book together. That would be beautiful. That would be lovely. But unfortunately, I live in a standard of living that I expect from people. And unfortunately, it's caused me a lot of problems because I have looked at other people's families and gone, like, I would love for my family to be like that. Unfortunately, I wasn't blessed with that level of love and care and protection that comes with being a wanted child, because I was an unwanted child. You can't want a child, you can't change that feeling. And one day my mum will realise that my mum projects on me. Yeah, I wasn't the problem. If my mum goes back to the video that she did for Moral Dilemmas, so please, mother, yeah, don't ever tell me, don't talk about you, yeah, mother, yeah, who was talking about Kelly, who had such low self-esteem, yeah, on Moral Dilemmas. You said on that program that Kelly wasn't the problem. She was a beautiful child. It was me. It was me. That was your exact words on that program. Yeah. So stop projecting on me. Yeah. You were the one who shagged my father. You were the one who got knocked up. You were the one who brought a baby into the world. You were the one who brought a baby into the world who was born with a physical and a main thing. You are responsible. If I've fucked up, you are responsible. So take your little stupid stuff away and start being the parents that you should be and the grandparents that you should be. If not, stop sitting there like a mental health patient, stalking your daughter's crack book, making sure that you can find the one thing that she might say that you can come in and go bang with, just like you used to when I was a kid, yeah? Okay, all right, you never quite did that. Bit of a grabber, weren't you, mum? Yeah? Bit of a grabber, yeah? You can't bully me anymore, do you understand? I'm 41. I'm not a 13-year-old little girl that you can try to manipulate or bully with your little eyes or your looks, or, you know, I can't do this or I can't do that. And dare, if you offer me a coffee, I don't reply in just quite the right way. So to the people who want to engage in this communication with Sian Wood, who is my mother, yes, Sharon Hill, Sean Wood. First time she's come on and spoke in her normal account, that's fine. Please remember, I love my mum. Love my mum very dearly. I'm very disappointed with my family. Like I have said, my social media covers 3 aspects: health, wealth, and relationships. Always has done. Always has been around these things. I'm a coach. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. It's what brings me massive pleasure. It's just, unfortunately, I had a lot of people around me that I was moving into a whole different lifestyle. I was moving into a lifestyle that I had worked really, really, really hard to get to. Okay, I didn't have titles or offices and I was self-employed, but I have done the best that I can do with what I have at the time. Even now, right here, right now, in this flat, that I have literally been dumped in a 1-bedroom flat, palmed off onto Universal Credits, where I have about 150 quid deducted off it a month, you know, so I'm only getting 800 quid a month, right? I am still managing to put nappies on my children. I'm still managing to feed my children. I'm still managing to try to get bits in that we need and things like that. I'm managing to make sure that they've got the right season clothes. Now, I can't walk into a shop and go into Next and go and buy brand new clothes for my kids. I don't have that sort of funds to do that. I can't walk into Debenhams Sale and go and buy my kids a load of bits and shoes and stuff like that, because I don't have the finances to do that right now. So I do the best that I can with what I've got. So when I've got people here wasting my time, yeah, when you should be getting your inquiry done, you should be getting your paperwork done. Now, I don't need to spend much of my time with parents anymore. I have achieved what I came here to do. If parents don't get into this inquiry, there's nothing I can do about it anymore. If you want to sit there and listen to people like my mother trying to tell you it's all because it's part of my illness. Yeah, it's part of my illness. What illness? What illness? What abandonment issues from my mother? That's the only issues that I probably have, and the grief that I'm dealing with my kids. And I miss Dean, and I don't quite understand what's going on with our relationship right now. But at the end of the day, I've got to get up and keep going, because there's 2 beautiful little boys in there, and there's Aaron and Faith somewhere in this damn world that I don't know how they're being treated, who they're going to be looking after. And my mother would rather be trying to prove to people there's something wrong with me than standing by her daughter and getting into that court and winning this fucking case and getting the kids back, because she could do that. My mum is highly intelligent enough to do that. My mum has crushed court cases. My mum was even involved in SAMS with the Royal Courts of Justice. My mum could have gone through my paperwork in the whole time I've been here. In fact, my mum's not even at work at the moment. My mum could be going, right, you've got this inquiry. Right, let's go. Come on, I'm coming round. Let's get this paperwork out. Let's get on with it. Let's get it done. I will never get that from my mum. Ever. Ever. Just like I will never get I love you either. So if you would like, yes, to bully me with my mother, please do. I will say bye to those people here and now, because if I go and find that you're one of them people that have been writing about Dean or commenting, stuff like that used to upset me. I couldn't have just, as soon as Amber messaged me with the pictures and I saw my mum, I thought, oh, here we go. Now what I can do is just delete and block. But it just pushes people to go and chat, speak behind on closed messages, whatever. Come right here, right in front of my face and do it. I'm not the sort of person who smash your face in. I'm getting to that sort of person, but I'm not that sort of person. I'm not a violent person. I'm not even a physically verbal person. I am just at the end of my tolerance to all this bullshit now. I'm at the end of my tolerance with having to constantly defend this really beautiful heart. And it is a beautiful heart. It's a lovely heart. There's amazing, beautiful people who will tell you immediately that girl has got a beautiful heart. And one day my mum might realise it. And one day Dean might wake up and actually go, yeah, that woman's been faithful and loyal. Loyalty means everything to me. Loyalty means everything. If I can't trust you to not go off and badmouth me, I might have said something to you. If you've got a problem with me, then you come to me and you tell me you have a problem with me. If you are not sophisticated, articulate enough to have an adult relationship with someone, that if you've got a problem that you can't talk to that person about it, then there's issues. There's issues immediately. I have to work on my communication every day. Every day. And every day I get better with it. But if I come in and all of a sudden I say something to somebody and they want to go and trout me over to so-and-so, so-and-so, well, next time you ask me, hey, Kelly, how you doing? Do you know what the answer will be? Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. So if I say to you, yeah, I'm fine, thanks, remember one thing. That means that you are insignificant to me. Because that's the conversation that people that don't mean it in my life get from me. I'm fine, thanks. That means that you are not entitled to any form of information about me, and that I'm not going to have a conversation with you about what might or might not be right or wrong. Or actually, yeah, I'm really great, thanks. I won't even share that with you. You'll just get, yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Because there's different levels and different relationships with people. You're all just strangers to me. Even Amber, I've met Amber once. She is a complete and utter stranger to me. As an Aspie, if that's the label you want to call it, I struggle enough with them sort of friendships and stuff. I'm a loner who talks to everybody. And I like being a loner. I don't always like being a loner. Sometimes I want to share memories with people. But for you to become somebody in my life where I'm going to wake up with you here in the morning and we're going to still be sitting here for tea. Even Dean isn't in my life every day because he knows I can't tolerate that right now. That's one thing that I will give Dean, yeah? He gets it. He knows that when he met me, I was broken. I was totally broken. No, he was never expecting me to be this whole vibrant person. I don't think anybody has necessarily realised the struggles. Like, my mum knows jack shit. Yeah, absolutely jack shit. And I'm glad I've got stronger, because what my mum's done tonight, last year or the year before would have put me in a suicide battle. My mum has been my kryptonite my entire life. And not in a nice way. Not in a nice way at all. My mum's been my kryptonite. She hasn't been my power or my enabler or my helper. My mum's been the one person that's been able to destroy me. So you go and chat shit with my mum. And I dare you, because you won't be in my life for much longer. Do you understand that? Just like my mum ain't. Yeah, so I will remind you, I put myself in foster care for a reason. And I hope one day I get this book done and I have to say everything that I need to say to my dad, to my mum, my nan who's not here, to the man who raped me, to the people who pinned me down, and to the people who bullied me along the way, to the social worker who called me attractive in a street corner kind of way, to the teacher that used to grab me by the back of the neck and make me get all work done, to the RE teacher that used to bang me out of the stairs and stick me in the withdrawal room, to the paramedic that ripped the gas and air out my mouth and bust my jaw, and to the relationships that I've had where they've broken down with opinions of me that have been wrong, to people who have come into my life and made judgments and got them wrong. I've got a lot to say to a lot of people. Got a lot to say. And it's about time that these people realise how much hurt, how much sadness, how much pain, how much upset, how much rejection. And it's not just what they've done to me, but what they've done to my kids too. Because when you alienated me, you alienated my kids too. And they were innocent in all of this. My kids have always been innocent in all of this. What happened to me as a kid wasn't my fault. But how my parents decided to deal with it was their fault. And how they have dealt with it my entire life is their fault. It's not mine. And I can put it hand on my heart, that I can 100% say, one, I'm not a victim to what these people have done. Not a victim. Not a victim at all. But I was an innocent person who was very badly abused by some people. But it's the people that stood back and watched and did nothing that have caused me the worst abuse. And that is just like you, all of you now. You sit and you watch me every day. You see me go through Missing Aaron and Faith every day. But how many of you have ever taken the time to write a letter to the council or to anybody to say, you met this woman who's had her kids taken off and you can't believe what they've done to her? How many have bothered? Probably because you don't care about me enough to actually want to stand for my family, which is why I stand alone. And I get that, because we don't have a personal relationship with each other, and that's fine. I get that. So if we don't have a personal relationship to the point that you're here battling with me with my kids, then you don't have a personal relationship with me to be able to call my children's father a sperm donor, because you're not insulting him, you're actually insulting me, because that would mean that I was using him for the sake of the children. So don't ever play with my love for that man, because my love for Dean will go on for fucking eternity. Even my son knows. I know I'm not happy with the way things went with them, but my love for Dean comes way before anything, because me and Dean go back hundreds and thousands of fucking years together. Yeah, and you don't beat something like that. We might have a couple of little edges over these next couple of years, but you're going to be guaranteed, you, when we leave this fucking planet, it'll be me and Dean together. So I won't go there. You can think our relationship is fragile as you like, but we're actually pretty strong. We have our challenges, but it's only because of the challenges that I'm going through and where he's going through individually. Not as us as individual people. As individual people, we're good people. The battles that we're having is caused by bad people. But the real battle is that the good people are sitting back and watching what bad people are doing to people, and they're doing nothing about it. So then we start to get problems. And that's what annoys me, because people are very good at opening this to talk about people in bad ways, but they're not very good at opening this to do something constructive. And it's about time we all did, because I'm sick and tired of people's opinions, people's hearsay, people's perspectives. Try bringing truth and facts to a situation, and I guarantee you, you will find that the majority of words that have left your mouth about other people, 99% of it, you've been talking shit about somebody. Because you'll take something that somebody said and you regurgitate it without even checking whether it's right. I even know of marriages that have fallen to pieces because somebody has gone, oh, I saw your fella the other day. Not true. And people listen and they accept these truths. Very dangerous, very, very, very dangerous, very dangerous. We can all make an opinion of somebody. Gripper, the smelly teacher, BO, lesbian, yeah. We can all make them stereotypes of people. We can all make judgments of people. But do you ever know what them judgments done to the consequence to that person? You might have been responsible for that person who committed suicide. You might have been responsible for the battle that that person now goes through. You might be responsible for why that person doesn't go and live the life that they want, because you've battered their soul. You're proud of yourself, are you? Proud of yourself, putting it out there, what a vile, evil man Dean is. Have you ever sat down and had dinner with him? What? He's a vile, evil man because he puts the toys away and he doesn't put them all in the box, and it causes for me to have to get all of the toys back out again and put them all back into the place because he just throws them in onto the chair or onto the side.
Wow. What, because he's not here right now with his boys? What, because he's in Spain? What, you got an issue with that? Do you know what he's doing in Spain? Do you know what he's trying to achieve over there? Do you know? No then. So shut the fuck up. On that note, see you later, guys. Be careful who you talk shit about, because karma has a way of coming back to bite people in the arse. And if you can't help somebody, don't hinder them. Because if you hinder somebody, the karma's going to bite you up the ass. I don't care whether or not you like me, what you think about me. I'm here to build a career. I'm here to build a business now. I'm not here to be a free read for anybody. I'm not your free ride anymore. You can't be jumping on Kelly, taking everything from me, getting all inspired, or doing whatever you need to do, or watching me because you're waiting for me to fuck up, or for whatever reason. I don't know why you're here. You might just be here because you've got nothing else to do. You might be here because you're waiting for me to get my tits out. That is never happening. No. On Monday, I will be hitting it through my paperwork. I use YouTube because it helps me. Next week, I'm going to be triggered off left, right, and centre with words and stuff that are coming out in my paperwork. And I'm going to be reading this 6 years later as well. It helps me talk about things because talking helps, okay? And talking does help. And I'm glad that I get to help somebody. But if it means that I can help somebody to become a happy marriage with family where they have loyalty, that's what I want. I'm not into all this, we're women that don't need men. I'm not interested in all of that. And if everybody wants to say, oh, I don't need Dean. Yes, I do need Dean. My boys need Dean. My son can slag Dean off, but not because of Dean, but because of what Stephen did. And they don't realise that they're punishing Dean for what Stephen did. Okay? And everybody does it. We go into a new relationship and we accuse our partners of doing everything that our previous partner did. Well, actually, you're very much insulting that person that you're with. And you could actually push a really good person away by constantly accusing them of what somebody else did. But it's human nature to do this. It's just that we don't take time out to understand that that's what's going on. My mum isn't sitting here watching my videos, waiting to share them out to help her daughter. She isn't sitting there trying to, go, oh, well, she's really struggling with this laptop, or, my daughter's wanted a camera since she was 4 years old. I've never brought her one for Christmas or birthdays, but hey, I buy the girls, as in my sister's ones, all the time. They can have whatever they want. Maybe go and buy me a camera. It's not about these sort of things. It's about, my mum's not here to enable me. If my mum was here to enable me, then my mum would be working with me on my book, and she would be really looking forward to that very first day that we get that pack with, the first copy of the book, and looking forward to getting it out there, because she would want justice for Aaron and Faith just as much as I do. But she doesn't. She'd met Aaron and Faith once. So please don't think I have a nice close relationship with my mum, because I certainly don't. And in fact, had my mum not done that, she wouldn't have even been mentioned tonight. I just made one little comment about the fact of living down here, and I'm actually really disappointed with my parents, because I've come all the way down here after them nagging and nagging and nagging me for years to move down here, and it's ended up wasting my life. So, and Dean's been asking me to move to Spain, ever since we got here. And I've stayed because I wanted to build with my family. So no, we've now come to the conclusion that the chances of me ever having my family in my life is looking pretty zero, because the reality is I need people around me that are loyal, true, open and honest. And when you say something to me, I can look at you and know, like I know that what you're saying to me is gospel. That's even as simple as, hey, we're going to go out for dinner on Thursday. I then know, hey, we're going out for dinner on Thursday. Yeah, and I need that around me right now. So if people in my immediate circle can't give me that and create any form of confusion while I'm going through what I'm about to go through, and it's going to be quite a challenge for me these next couple of weeks, and I'm not quite sure whether it's one that I'm going to be able to beat, because once the emotions start coming up, it's very easy to change your state. But I'm going to go there, and I'm going to allow this to happen. I've not got any support while doing this. There's no therapist, there's no things, not here, my son's not here. I have decided that every time I try to do this with Dean here, because he does, and we do go, right, are you going to do this? And he will say, please remember, Kelly, after about day 2, you end up as being this, this, and this. But unfortunately, what happens is people then can't handle once the layers start coming off. So I don't want to affect my relationships with the gangrene that I'm going to have to deal with. So I've decided to go through it on my own. So, and Elijah and Shiloh are absolutely brilliant. I know I'm with them 24/7, but at these particular points, you know, they are in bed. But I am one of these mums that believe that children should know the Kelly behind the mum. And half of the battle that we have is our children grow up to know mum and dad, and they shouldn't be getting to know mum and dad. They should be getting to know the individual as a person. And I don't think there's anything wrong with children understanding emotions. I think one of the biggest battles, I can't believe I've spoken for 2 hours tonight, but one of the biggest battles with anybody with emotion is that we think that we won't cope with it, that if we cry and have these breakdowns, it gets to the point where we start going and we don't feel like we have any form of control over ourselves in these moments. And this is why we have a massive alcohol and massive drug problem here in the UK, because what happens is people can't deal with that level of emotion, that they then use alcohol or drugs to mask, even smoking. It's the, you know, smoking can suppress an emotion within seconds. You know, weed is a massive big one for suppressing. A lot of people can't get out of that weed loop either as well, because it's just heroin, alcohol. Alcohol is the worst one for it as well, because you have to go through rattles, so you've got the withdrawal from the drinks and the drugs as well. So you've got to go through that first actual withdrawal, and then from that, then you've got to deal with the level of emotions and pain that was going on in the first place. And this is why I know full well that these support groups and these clinics don't work, because we're still dealing with all these different labels. And until our therapy world understands trauma on trauma, and stop labeling people like my mum doing it, it's my illness. Well, I'm sorry, I was born actually quite my Asperger's. Yes, if you want to accept that I'm an Aspie, that's completely fine. But as a mother, yes, you're then meant to be the one who's protecting your daughter, not the one who's part of the bully crew. Yeah, you know, we get to this point where we worry, because we'll come into battles over suicide. We'll start thinking that we're going to go to these low levels. We'll worry. Nobody as yet, I don't believe, has ever died from crying too much. You can fall asleep crying, which is not a great thing, but ultimately crying is the blessing. Crying is the release of the emotions, and this is why so many people get so ill, because what they tend to do is bottle it up, 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 and it's either going to come out in a complete explosion at some point in your life, or it's going to manifest in illness. And what it tends to go to is your bowels first. So a lot of people who've got irritable bowel or bloating is usually somebody with a lot of agitated stress, somebody with a heart ticker problem, yeah, usually somebody who's bottled a lot of stuff up. Arthritis can manifest through from bottling things up. Even my EDS gets worse if I bottle things up. Cancer is caused 100% by an acidic body. So if your body is emotionally poisoning, then your body is acidic, which means you've got cancer breeding in your body. And this is why this world annoys me, because like I keep saying, it's all the spraying the roots of spraying the leaves of the branch. With this employment racket, just this crazy. That if we could just understand one concept, and that is that we are human beings that have thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And that's what we're here to learn to master. We're here to learn to master our emotions, to be in control of ourselves to a level that just because all of a sudden some cunt from out there goes and chops you up, all of a sudden you've got to be in a bad mood. Well, no, it doesn't really work that way. We are meant to be in joy. We're meant to be happy. We're meant to be in peace. We're meant to be prosperous. We're meant to be thriving. We're meant to be living at a high vibration. It's just that, you know, we've come into this world and it's been reprogrammed into such a way to make sure that the majority of you just pretty much follow the rat race and maybe get in the hamster's wheel and on the tread life for life and leaving your box nicely and without too much of a headache. But you know, that's really not what life's about. So anyway, I've rambled again today. But yeah, I'm going to be taking myself through this emotion. I think because obviously I've gone through social with Aaron and Faith, Elijah and Shiloh, sorry, I have sort of put some stuff into a box and I need to open Pandora's box, which is always not a good thing to do, but I need to go there. And the reason that I need to go there is because I have to face this stuff here that I've got to deal with. I can't move on with my life. If Dean rings me up tomorrow, well, it won't work because I still haven't got Shiloh's passport. He's waiting for me to get Shiloh's passport sorted. So if, say, Dean rings me up and goes, right, I'm in Ibiza, I've managed to get a DJ job, I've managed to secure an apartment, you're going to be over here in 2 weeks. The fact is, I still couldn't do it because until my stuff is in order, until my paperwork is in order, until I know full well that I have no incompletes to deal with in terms of this matter. It doesn't mean that I'm now going to have Aaron and Faith back, but at least I've done those things, because it's really difficult to get on with your life. It's like putting a CD into my DVD player to play, but then trying to put another one on and listening to that one. You've got to take the other one out first before it will play the other one. And that's kind of what my life's like at the moment. And I put a post up today to say that grief is like living in two lives, you know. So there's this life where you're joyful and you're happy and things are really great. Like, you know, Elijah and Shiloh, I mean, they are wonderful. They are a blessing. They are two very, very, very beautiful boys. And we could literally be getting up every day and going out and having a really, really lovely time. And there's no reason that that can't happen. Okay, I have my battles with my body. But if I was willing to give up all of this, then I probably would have a mum and my dad and Jean and everybody around, because everybody just wants me to give up on Aaron and Faith. No, that's not going to happen. And I will never, that's never going to happen. You can fight me all you like on that. It's not going to happen. You can try and say it's my illness, it's my way of coping with it, as much as you like, to try to get other people to come with your way of thinking about it. No, yeah, it's your guilt, yeah. So you're the one that's going to have to face Aaron and Faith one day and say, what did you do to save us? Because they're our blood. Aaron and Faith are my mum and my dad's grandchildren. They're blood, yes. They have to face their golf buddies and say, hence why they don't like anyone to know anything about us, because one day someone is going to ask them questions and go, oh, really? So I get why your daughter's mad at you then. You really fucking let her down, didn't you? You didn't just fucking let her down. You dropped her from a fucking massive big height and you freaking scrapped on her head. Wow, you fucked your daughter over from a fucking great big height too. So yeah, brings me back to the book. It has to be done. I don't see any way out of it because people just come on here and get little bits and little bits. Like even my neighbour saying to me the other day, she went, well, I said to my husband the other day that you can't be that bad because you wouldn't have your 2 kids. And I live now with people constantly questioning me. So even she's going, she was like, I know, but like, if you were a child abuser, you'd have been put in prison, wouldn't you? And it's like, yeah, if I was a child abuser, I'd have gone to prison. And it's funny, and it is, sometimes it's funny, but sometimes it's just really damn annoying because I have to live with this every day. There is no getting away from this. I could shut down all my accounts, get rid of Google, completely burn anything to do with me, make sure that there is nothing on Google. I could ask the police to remove it because I've got draconian gagging orders. I could get the courts to have it removed. I could be completely removed from all forms of social media, anything, nothing of me at all. I could go and get on and live my life. I could even, every person I meet, I could just tell them that I've got 2 boys and that's it. I've got Liam here, so I always say, oh, I had a 23-year-old. But I could literally